Hi, I wanted to share a few tricks when chaining. The first one is as you tension and move up, you're going to want to redo your tension as you chain. Also, when you're grabbing your yarn, you can grab your yarn around and pull through this way, but it causes your yarn to turn. So the better way to grab your yarn is to put your hook behind it, pull it forward toward you, pull it to here, and then turn it down. And what that does is it locks your yarn under the head of your crochet hook, and you can pull it through and then you turn it back towards you. You'd move your tension up, put your hook behind the yarn, pull it toward the loop and down and through and back towards you. And as you practice, those motions will get easier and they'll get more natural. But that's an easy way to learn how to grab your yarn. Now, if you've learned how to grab your yarn this way, you're basically doing the same thing that I've said, except that when your yarn goes through your loop, you get an extra twist in your chain. And so if you're chaining and instead of laying flat, your chain is tending to turn, that might be why that's happening. See how that chain is straight and it's curving around? It's because of the way that I was grabbing my yarn. Now you want your chain to lay flat and straight like that instead of curving around if possible. And you want all of your loops to be the exact same size if you can. The other thing is if your loops are too tight, you won't be able to crochet back into the chain. That's how the next step of crocheting is to either crochet into the top or the bottom or the back or the front loop or into the loops, the bumps that are on the back of your chain. So if you have chains that are super tight, like this, I'll show you. If you have chains that are like this, then this right here is going to be much more difficult to crochet into than these right here are. So the way that you fix that is when you pull through your loop, pull through enough so that there's room for your hook to slide easily. I was taught that when you pull through all the way up to the fattest part of your hook, and then you slide your hook back in. So your hook is going back and forth through that loop over and over. So you pull it through and you slide your hook in, you retension, you pull through, you slide your hook in and retension. That makes sure that your loops are big enough to go around your hook so that when you go crochet back into your loops, like if I was going to crochet back into these down here and do a stitch, then that's really easy to do. Whereas if I tried to crochet back into those tight stitches down here, like this one for example, that is going to be an incredibly difficult thing to do in its effort. And crocheting shouldn't be hard. It should be smooth and it should be pretty simple. So it's really important to practice chaining and get your chains really nice and even and smooth before you move on to crocheting. Chaining is the foundation of everything that you do. You either start with a foundation chain like this and crochet into it to start your project, or sometimes with stitches. So like this is a shell stitch. You would single crochet and chain, and then single crochet back into the stitch. And that chain right there creates a space, but it's the same kind of chain as what you're doing here. And so chains are used in stitches or they're used in these foundation rows. So chaining is pretty important. I know it might seem kind of tedious to practice that over and over, but it's super important to get that even. It also teaches you how to relax your body if your chains are really tight. then you need to relax your arms and relax your shoulders, and that'll help your chains come out more smooth and more even. So I hope those tips help.